Hey guys, it's Doug Giles. Welcome back to Billiards of New Orleans. Let's see, I know this video is going to be a little out of character for me. I don't really do reviews per se outside of pool tables typically, but I got to tell you the experience that I had with this company is just mind-boggling to say the least. And you know, if my experience with them and some of the experiences that I'm going to share with you from other people, if it's any indication as to the type of business practices that go on, maybe, well, I'll leave it up to you to decide based on my review and other reviews as to whether or not ADT, which is the company obviously from the title of this video, ADT is obviously the company that I'm having an issue with. And apparently I'm not, like I said, apparently I'm not the only one. I did get online and found some reviews of them, and it don't look good for ADT. So anyway, let me start off by relaying my story. So as many of you have seen from one of my previous videos, we recently got into the new shop here. And, part of, in getting into the shop, the new shop, we had taken over from a previous tenant that was here, their contract for ADT, which fine, contracts are contracts, that's great. But one of the things when you sign a contract, you expect both parties to live up to their end of the agreement. Well, ADT managed to, now this was back in April of this year, we actually took possession of the building. April 1st, we had signed the transfer document, transferring the services from the previous tenant to us. Back on the 31st of March of this year. And so we assumed it on April 1st. So, I thought everything was all well and good. Didn't really give it an awful lot of consideration, given the fact that we had so much stuff to have to do here and build out, move furniture, move equipment, that kind of stuff to get geared up for actually working in here. Didn't give it a second thought, really. I just figured, okay, we have the alarm. The previous tenant had given me the code. We went into alarm.com, which is an affiliate, apparently an affiliate of ADT, and we set our own code and everything. So, all of that was fine. So we had been in here for a month, but I had never received even the first phone call from anyone from ADT. And I thought, after a little bit, after we started getting a little settled, I thought that was a bit strange that nobody from there had ever contacted me to welcome me aboard, tell me exactly what it is we're doing, what we've got here, anything like that. But, it's no big deal. Next thing I know, I got a bill in the mail from ADT. It was for $50 or so for monitoring service. Okay, no big deal. Went ahead, wrote the check. But one of the things that I had noticed was every time that we would arm or disarm the alarm, it was going through, and I'll go back to alarm.com, we would get a notification on our cell phones saying that the system was disarmed or it was armed, but it also said who it was that it was arming and disarming. And it was the previous tenant. So I went back onto alarm.com, went to the account settings and everything, figured, all right, well, this is pretty easy, So I get into it, I get into the account settings and go to edit the account information for the business name and for the contact on there, and go to put my name in, and it wouldn't let me do it. So I'm like, all right, well, this is a little strange, but, not that big a deal. I'll call up tomorrow and ask them to get this rectified. So the following day, this was in May now, we had been in here a month, got everything built, and we had been in here about a month. So in May, I called them up, or the next day, after I had gone through alarm.com and tried to get everything resolved myself, fix it myself, I call up ADT, and I kid you not, I was on the phone for 2 hours with them trying to get this fixed. So, something, I mean, really, really simple, like 3 pieces of information, 3 key pieces of information: the name of the business and the contact name, first and last name of the contact person, which was me. I was on the phone with them for 2 hours. They finally said, okay, well, we're putting in a request with alarm.com. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the way that this works, apparently ADT/Protection One, they employ alarm.com as their like notification system to the customer, and they go so far as to actually write it up in their contract. The alarm.com section of it, it's in ADT's contract. So, they're selling you that. You may not be paying it firsthand, but you are paying for it indirectly by paying ADT. ADT turns around and pays alarm.com. And it's not just ADT. There's a whole bunch of different alarm companies, alarm monitoring companies and installation companies, whatever, that pay alarm.com to give the notifications to the user. Again, no big deal. So they put in a request to alarm.com to change the information. Well, another month goes by. Now we're in June. And again, I'm noticing every single day when I go to arm or disarm the system, again, it always pops up on my phone, and the email that I get always pops up as the name of the previous tenant. And after a little while, my wife asked me, she says, well, I thought they took care of this. I said, well, I kind of thought so too. She says, well, why don't you give them a call again, see what's going on. So I call them back up. Again, 2 hours on the phone, didn't get anywhere. Again, the representative that I spoke with, we can't really do it on our end, which to ADT's credit, I can understand that. Okay, maybe they can't do it on their end. They have to get alarm.com to change the information within there. I can't do it as the customer. ADT can't do it. Alarm.com has to do it for them. And I understand that. But again, ADT is the one paying alarm.com. So technically speaking, ADT is alarm.com's customer, and alarm.com is liable to ADT to carry out the requests that they do on behalf of ADT's customer. I hope I'm not getting too far in the weeds with this. So anyway, I spent another 2 hours on the phone with them in June. Again, told, well, we'll get this taken care of. Same thing happens again in July. Another 2 hours on the phone. So finally we get into August, and I called them up, I guess right around the 15th or so of August, maybe before that. I don't remember the exact date, but grand total, I spent 5 phone calls with them just trying to get this straightened out over the course of 4 months. And, nobody could manage to get this done. And what's going on in my head, as a layperson, somebody that doesn't necessarily know how the alarm system, the reporting system works, I don't know if it's ADT that actually calls the police in the event of a break-in or the event of a false alarm or whatever, or if it's alarm.com that does it. I have no idea. All I know is that I'm looking on alarm.com and I keep seeing the previous tenant's name and the name of the business wrong. what starts going through my head is, as time progresses, it's like, what happens if I'm put in the wrong code and the alarm goes off and the police have to get dispatched? And I'll go back to what I started off with, is that after I first got the service, nobody from ADT called me, and nobody bothered to get a safe word or a password from me, a new one. Apparently there was one on the account. I had no idea what it was. I still to this day have no idea what it was. And, police being police, and I understand where police are coming from. If they get a call out, if I can't give the proper safe word or the proper password to the alarm company, and if my name isn't the one on the account, and if the business name is completely different, when the police show up, they're going to arrest first and ask questions later. They're more than happy, because at that point they do have probable cause that, somebody that doesn't belong in the building is in the building, and they have probable cause to do an arrest. And I'm thinking, I could get arrested for being in my own building, all because ADT can't manage to get a simple the account information cleared up. So fast forward to the 28th of this month of August, I've spent no less than 10 hours on the phone with them. Finally, I get one person on there that says, well, I know what to do. Now, I'm sorry, let me go back. The other 4 people also said, I know what to do. So I'm like, look, I want this fixed. I'm getting sick and tired of every time I go to arm or disarm the system, I got somebody else's name on here. I don't know if something happens, if I'm going to get arrested for being in my own building. I got no idea what's going on. I mean, you guys need to fix this. You guys pay alarm.com. You are their customer. You pay them. I don't care what it needs to do. You got till tomorrow to get this fixed. Oh, well, we'll get it fixed. I said, I want you to call me back tomorrow. If you don't call me back by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm giving you plenty enough time to get this taken care of. I've given you 4 months to get this taken care of. If you can't manage to call me back by 11 o'clock tomorrow, I'm getting somebody else. Needless to say, they didn't get it taken care of by 11 o'clock the next morning. And I actually gave them till about 1. Finally, about 3 o'clock on the 28th, I called up and I got somebody else to come in. This past Monday, somebody else came in, put their equipment in, and we've got a new service. All of that being said, I get an email after I tell them, because I called them back on the 29th, telling them, look, I don't want your service anymore. I got somebody else. Cancel the service. They send me a bill for the balance on the account, which is another 10 months. They send me a $450 bill. As if, all of this wasn't bad enough that I've spent all of this time on the phone. And there were a couple of other things that had transpired in between. They had offered me, after I told them I had spent 10 hours with them on the phone, they offered me, what was it? A $45.62 credit. So basically telling me that my time is only worth $4.56 per hour. Yeah, I make a little bit more than that, but, not a lot more, but I make a little bit more than that. My time is worth more than $4.56 an hour. I thought that was a bit of an insult, especially considering that they still hadn't fixed the problem. And, in all actuality, come to find out, all that they had to do was tell alarm.com to close the previous account in alarm.com and set me up a new account. That's all it would have taken. But every single person along the way dropped the ball. Now, the last person that I spoke with from the second to last person I spoke with ADT. She got pretty indignant with me and started insisting how I've had this account for 9 years, when no, we just moved into the place in February. In April, there's no way possible I could have had it. And she was basically calling me a liar because I had the nerve to disagree with her as to when we moved into here and we took over the account. And she was, Johnny on the spot was sending me an email, and I'll pull up the email and put it on the screen here, showing that they wanted to charge me $441 and change to cancel the contract. Well, it seems to me this is a bit of a breach of contract on ADT's part, because they something as simple as getting my account information correct. And their response was, well, your alarm system was working fine, which is what we're being paid to do. No, we have an entire, 13-page contract that states all of the things, the duties and responsibilities of both parties. It's not just, well, we're going to monitor your alarm. If that were the case, we could do that in one sentence. We will monitor your alarm. You agree to pay us for the term of 60 months, blah, blah, blah. And what I thought was another amusing thing was that the previous tenant had signed the contract with them, and part of the contract, it states that ADT will keep a copy of the contract, and that the customer is not necessarily entitled to a hard copy or even a digital copy of the contract. But yet when I signed the transfer, I'm all of a sudden bound by the terms of the contract. And again, I'll pull this up on the screen. I'll put all this up on the screen. At the very bottom of their initial contract, because they did email me a copy of the initial contract with the previous tenant, very last thing is, it says, basically I read and understand everything within this contract. Well, as the new tenant, and all I'm signing is a transfer document, and the previous tenant doesn't have a hard copy of this, and they don't have a digital copy, that by default means I don't have a copy of something that I'm signing. How am I liable for that? I'm really curious to see if ADT has anything to say about this video. Not that I'm looking to hold this over their heads. I'm not. But I do think that consumers need to be aware that this is the kind of stuff that's going on. Now, you might actually be thinking that this is a loan case. No, it's not. Let's look at, and I'm going to pull this up right quick here on the computer. Let's go over to, this is sitejabber.com. And sitejabber.com goes through and gives this is one of the online review places, and I didn't look all over the place for reviews for ADT, but this one stuck out to me because there are a fair number of reviews here. There's 628 reviews here. And the breakdown for the number of reviews is as follows. 5-star reviews, there are 15 out of 628 5-star reviews. 4-star reviews, there is 1. 3-star reviews gets a little bit better than 4 stars. There are 5 people that give 3 stars, and 2-star reviews, 19. Now, if your math is the same as Site Jabbers here, you'll quickly figure out that the remaining 588 out of 628 are 1-star reviews. And I'm sure that a lot of the people that left 1-star reviews for ADT would have left 0 given the opportunity. Now, I'm not going to go in and read all of this. I will provide the link down below to SiteJabber, this where I'm reading this, where I'm getting this information, and I want you as the viewer, and maybe you got to me through doing pool table videos, maybe you got to me through some of my leatherworking videos, maybe you're just, this was a thumbnail that popped up in your feed through YouTube, and maybe you're considering alarm monitoring service and wondering what company to go through. I'm not going to tell you who to or not to go through. All I'm going to say is you need to read through the actual reviews of every company that you go through. And my choice, we went through a new company. I'm sorry, not a new company. We went through a local company for monitoring, and the price was actually $10 a month cheaper than ADT. I'm sorry, $15 a month cheaper than ADT. They also installed new equipment in here, and we're pretty much good here for a long while. We're not going to need new equipment for a long while. They upgraded our equipment and everything from what ADT had in here before, and it's cheaper. And we don't have this entire rigmarole that we have to go through with ADT. Again, I'm not telling you who to or not to use. I'm just telling you that you really need to check out the reviews, especially on something like this where you're signing a contract for 3, 4, 5 years or more, conceivably. And you get locked into something where, these guys can run roughshod over you, and there's nothing you can do. The reviews speak for themselves, not just mine. I could just be the one lone disgruntled customer that has a beef with them, that decides to get out there and put my opinions out there. But as you can see from my previous videos, I don't really have a beef with anybody. I don't put out these kinds of videos at all, ever. And my review videos have been about pool tables, and again, not so much the companies themselves, but the product that they're selling, and whether or not the product that they're selling is worthy of the price. That's usually what I'm doing when it comes to reviews. And again, strictly pool tables. This is a bit of a different story, though. There's a principle involved, and I really think that consumers need to be aware of who they're dealing with. Again, I'll leave the link to the description down below. I'm sorry, link to the review site down below in the description. Tell me your experiences. Do you have ADT? Do you have another company that you deal with for alarm monitoring, that kind of stuff? And if you don't, and you're considering it, or if you don't, even if you don't have it, tell me down below. I'm curious, what do you figure is a reasonable amount of time to give a company to update something simple like account information? And how much would you be willing to go through? How much of this kind of stuff would you be willing to go through before you need it, before you want it fixed, or before you're willing to part ways and go get somebody else? But I still think it's pretty bad. I've only been their customer for 4 months, and it's gotten so bad that I'm willing to do this right here, right now, to let everybody know what my experience is. They did that in 4 months' time. What are they like a year from now? I do know other business owners that have had ADT, that have ADT now and can't wait to get rid of them, and that have had ADT in the past and got rid of them as soon as their contract was over. Kind of speaks for itself. Anyway, hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Have a great Memorial Day, or I'm sorry, not Memorial, Labor Day weekend. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Like, comment down below, tell me what you think, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.